Hello and welcome to another episode of Lowcountry All-Stars. I'm your host, Chloe G. Alongside me is Matt Golden, and we have the hardest working man in sports here with us today, Javon Livingston from Buford's Own. Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
So Javon, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your company and kind of how you got started and what all you do?
So basically, I just go and I live stream all of the high school sporting events that I can. Basically, just a one-man setup for the most part. Sometimes I do have a little bit of help, and basically, I just wanted to continue to grow and just kind of get as many games as I can to give kids the exposure that they deserve. Because I feel like we got a lot of talent in South Carolina and Beaufort, South Carolina, to be a small town, and we put out a lot, and we don't get the exposure that we need. So it's like maybe if I give them a little bit more exposure, imagine what we could be able to produce and kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So now, are you from Beaufort? Did you grow up around here?
I grew up around here. I'm not technically from Beaufort, but I've been here since I was 4, so I'm from Beaufort. Basically, is how that works right now. I went to Battery Creek class of 2012.
Awesome. Is there any particular sporting events or anything that you prefer covering over others, or you have a favorite sport you like to watch?
Oh, obviously it's football. Yeah, I definitely love football games. It's easier for me to flow, especially on the commentary side, which is kind of, I want to say my least favorite part of what I do, but I have fun doing it, but it's the easiest for me to commentate on and give fans the insight of what's going on because I played it and I know what's going on. Whereas basketball, baseball, things like that, I still have to learn all the rules and everything that's going on, the referee calls. So it makes it a little bit difficult, but most people are appreciative that I just got the game on, so that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's we were talking off air, but every week there's a bunch of games going on at the same time. How do you choose which games you're going to each week?
So originally, when I was just always choosing the best game. I'm looking to see who has the best record and things like that. When I was just recording and doing highlights, that's what I was doing. But since I've started streaming post-COVID and got back into the fold, it's pretty much been Beaufort High was kind of the first to kind of say, yes, you can stream our games completely. So now what I do, and I want to get back to all the schools. So right now it's basically, I look at Beaufort High schedule, and then I fill in all the gaps and I find the best teams that are playing the matchups, even if it's not to, as a friend Justin would say, a loco on loco matchup. I try to find the best game. So if I'm doing this and Beaufort's playing Fort Dorchester, that's a big game. I got to go to that game regardless of, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how it goes.
So you mentioned you started as highlights. How did you kind of evolve into doing the play-by-play and the live streaming?
Just making it a production and just my own insight and wanting to get better and better each year. I started, a lot of people don't know when I first started doing the highlights and the podcast, I had just a phone. I had a Galaxy S6 Edge and I was still on the top of the bleachers and I would film the coin toss at that time too. But what I would do is I would tell the referees like, hey, I'm also filming, give me a moment. Can you give me a moment to get to the top of the bleachers? So you can imagine during football season, I would be on the field for the coin toss and then I would run all the way up to the top of the to the bleachers and get on top up there in the camera and get ready for kickoff.
So do you just do this out of pure just passion and love for the sports or in high school sports or?
Yeah, I love sports in general. Some of it is I didn't have my film. It was hard for me to get my film, so I want to be able to give the kids that because I feel like some of these kids deserve a better opportunity, but they just don't have the opportunity to get themselves out there. So now they have at least some kind of film, and all it takes is a coach to be just watching the game at the next level and can kind of call them and pick them up. And so I just kind of continue to go from there. And then my mom is one of those people who didn't have a car. So for some of my high school career, and she would walk to games. And that was very big, and that's why I like to do what I do, because there's a lot of people that walk up to me now and tell me how appreciative they are that I do the games, because they're watching from 2 hours away, 3 hours away. There's dads that work out of town and come back. So that's why I do what I do.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. That's why I personally love high school sports, because it just means more to them. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a big part. Like I said, my mom would walk to my games. She would be a little bit late. She would walk to my games, and then she would leave like in the middle of the fourth quarter to try to beat me home. So she'd be home when I got home when a coach would drop me off. So someone like her would be appreciative of what I do now, and so I just like to provide that to everybody else.
I always think back to like when I played high school ball, and I know a lot of times, especially playoff games, when it get really cold, my grandfather would have to leave about halftime because it was just too cold, and listen to the rest on the radio. This service would have been awesome for him. Like he would have loved that to be able to watch it.
Yeah, there was a fan for Beaufort High. I can't remember his name because I'm terrible at remembering names, but he has a disability, and he usually sits at the top of the bleachers, right in front of the press box. And he tells me he can't get to games without his wife because of his disability, and she wasn't able to bring him that one game, and he watched it. He was glad he was able to watch it, and he was impressed with the quality and everything, but he was at the next game, and that's awesome. So to see people tell their stories like that whenever they run into me, wherever they do.
That's so cool. So, I know seasons vary, but how many games per week do you typically do?
As many as my day job will allow me to do, where I can get some rest. So like most of them are spread out. So for basketball and with fall and winter, it's usually 2 to 3 games a week you can kind of get in sometimes. But spring's coming up, and then if I really wanted to, we were talking about it before, if I wanted to go Monday through Saturday, I probably could. That was just with one school, but now that I'm trying to spread out to the multiple schools like I want to, there'll be a game every day if I really wanted to. If I'm not tired, I probably will.
Definitely gonna have some room to grow, of course. If you got anybody that wants to come out and join your team and help you, that would be so awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I advertise it all the time during the games. It's open to any of the county high school students. That's really who I want to get involved. If you're if you're a college or if you're an adult that just wants to help out as well, that would be very awesome. But I also want to give them that opportunity, partnership with the Beaufort Digital Corridor. They allow me to use that networking space to hold classes whenever I have students. So I'm appreciative of Tristan Roberts. I wish I would have had it last year when Thomas was with me. He's at USC. He's a part of their broadcasting program up there. So I just want to be able to continue to push that and give people a head start towards that career path. So it'd be real awesome.
Awesome.
I know you said football is your favorite one to do, but has there been a sport you didn't really know much about before you started doing this that you've really gotten to like to broadcast now?
Baseball,
okay.
Believe it or not. I wasn't really much of a baseball kid growing up. Didn't know much about it. It wasn't really in our family. And I watched some baseball, and watching it on TV, it's been kind of slow to grasp. I played church softball one year, and I had a lot of fun. And then once I got out in Beaufort High, they kind of made it easy because they had a couple of thrillers, a couple of comebacks and things like that. They kind of made it easy. But between baseball and softball, just covering that game and getting the right angles, it was just awesome. And then once I introduced that over the mound shot, over the shoulder of the pitcher, I was really impressed with myself being able to bring that to the game. And so were the fans. Everybody walked up to me, players and stuff like that, that were excited about it. So baseball is definitely probably my second favorite that's new that I didn't think I would love it to do.
Yes, so if you haven't heard, we are going to try to live stream a lot of his sports that he is covering. So be on his YouTube channel, and then we're going to pick it up and put it on our TV channel. So yes, we thank you so much for that. It is so awesome. So yeah, I think that's about all we got. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, no problem. Thank you guys for having me on.